If I work online as a coach instead of a doctor, do I need a coaching certification? How do you establish yourself as an expert without credentials? There's a sea of coaches in the online space, and I want to stand out. Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. So there's a legal kind of liability thing to having doctor-patient relationships or practitioner. If you don't have a doctorate, right, it's practitioner-patient relationships, whatever. You don't want to be practicing medicine without a license. I think that's an abstraction, but that's my personal bias, and we're not going to have that filter into anything you do, right? And what I mean by that is it's silly. Like right now, I'm paddling my kayak in the water that borders 2 states, right? If I have a license in one state, I can do acupuncture and whatever else, and I take a short kayak ride across, and now that would be illegal. That's fucking silly, right? Honestly, I mean, come on. It's a way for states to make money. It's a way for boards to have control over what happens under the guise of public protection. And I get the public protection part. It's important. This isn't going to be a huge rant, I promise, right? But it is an abstraction. And that abstraction, even though I don't think it's aligned to reality, it exists. And we can't ignore the reality that that abstraction exists, which means we have to respect it. So don't go get yourself in trouble trying to practice medicine without a license all over the states or whatever else. I can tell you that, you know, there's a gray area. And if you don't have any problems, you won't have any problems. If somebody wants to get you, they'll find a way to get you. No matter how licensed you are, it doesn't matter. I mean, you can be having a license and working on somebody in your own state, and if somebody has a real problem with you, they'll find a way to come after you. Nothing's safe. Even what you're doing right now, it's not 100% safe. It's probably pretty safe, right? But I mean, oh, Jeremy, I don't like this. Why are you telling me this? Well, that's why you have malpractice insurance, right? You already know this. You already know that shit happens, you know? So I'm not really breaking anything earth-shattering. When you go online, everybody gets a little bit squeamish because it's like, well, what do I do? You know, we're so used to an authority, a state board, whatever, a certification agency, a school. We're so used to an authority telling us what we can and can't do to help us feel safe, that when it comes to a little bit of uncharted waters, oftentimes we carry that reverberation of that fear, and we're looking for an authority that's not there, right? And if that makes you squeamish, but at the same time you crave freedom, then you have personal cultivation work to do, because you need to be able to reconcile those two things. At a certain point, your desire for freedom is going to force you to confront the fact that there's a part of you that wants authority. Now, this doesn't mean you have to be black and white and go for no authority, you know, total anarchy, but you just have to confront that fact, and you got to reconcile, and you got to figure out for your own self, what's that authority serving me? What are my human needs I'm getting out of this? Does it give me a feeling of safety and certainty to know that, like, I have a license, it's been stamped? You know, there's a lot of stuff you can think about here. When you want more freedom, you have to be ready to accept more power and also more responsibility and accountability. These things all work together. It's part of a package deal. And what I mean by that is power. Power doesn't mean power over other people and telling other people what to do and just being a jerk, right? Power, the way I see power, the best definition that I love the most for power is possession of a way. If you have a way to do something, then you have the power to do it, right? We call electricity power, right? The electricity went out at my house last year. We had a big fucking hurricane come through here, and it took the electricity out for like a week or something like that, right? We call that power. Oh, the power's out, the power's out. No. The electricity's out. I still have ways to do things. I can still cook without pushing a button, right? I can make a fire. I have power. I have ways to do things. That's not power, that's electricity, right? It's one form of power. So to get clear on that, you know, you've got to realize that power is a possession of a way, the ability to do something. And if you want freedom, then you have to be able to create that. You have to find a way to create that. And then you want to be able to do things with that freedom, right? So that implies power, and that implies having a good relationship with power. If we're bringing in baggage from the past of people who've had power over us or whatever else, we're not seeing the whole side of it. We're going to only reinforce the training glitches, the subconscious pain that we have. We have to realize that power actually can be a very, very good thing. A very good thing. Oh, Jeremy, but power corrupts. Well, when your power level surpasses your kindness level, yes, it does. Yes, it does. For those of us here, I'm not too concerned about that. I gather a tribe of very kind people. So as you become more powerful, that gives more oomph to your kindness. And that also means when you look at your patients and you want to have your patients actually take ownership over their own health, right? They are becoming empowered. The best clinicians, practitioners, the best folks I ever met, they all want to empower their patients. So how can we have such a poor relationship with the word power when we want to go around giving it out all the time, right? We need to think about these things. We need to get clear on this stuff. So if you want to empower your patients, you've got to have a healthy relationship with your own personal power. And some of that looks like, it shows up in weird ways in different domains. But one of those domains is, I will find a way, right? So if it's a business model and I'm worried about, oh, how can I send herbs to somebody who needs help? Or how can I, teach somebody how to take care of their health, but I'm not licensed in that state? Well, at a certain point, we go, I'll find a way. I'll find a way to do it. I don't have to break any laws to do it, right? I'm not advocating anything illegal, but finding a way within the law, I think that's a powerful attitude to have. So my question here is imagine you're a doctor and you've written a book. You took your knowledge about medicine and the human body and whatever else, and you took that knowledge, you put it in a container, and now you've made that available to people. Is that practicing medicine without a license? Do you need to only limit the sale of that book to states where you hold an active license? No, that'd be silly, right? Of course, it'd be totally silly. Now, what if instead of typing it, you speak it? What if instead of a book, you make recordings, you make videos? Is that practicing medicine without a license? No, don't be silly, right? You can charge for a book, you can charge for videos. If you can charge for videos, you can charge for a program. Here we are, right? So this whole thing with the coaching credential, that's one way to take your knowledge and expertise and package it up, make it available to people while staying off the radar of authoritative agencies who are confused about what's real, right? So there's my take. It's got a little bit of Jeremy bias sprinkled in, but bear with me, because this real question of oh, should I get a coaching certification? That's the whole point of coaching, is that bing, you're a coach. You can declare yourself a coach. There is no regulatory board. There are coaching organizations who sell certifications in their coaching methods, but they don't own the coach or consultant field. This isn't running to daddy and getting a piece of paper signed off so that now you feel free and safe to practice under the authority that makes you comfortable. This is self-declaring. It's permissionless. You don't have to ask. And this isn't one of those things where not asking means you violated. It's not. This is creation. You're creating something. You don't need permission to create a world around your work. You don't need permission to share your message. This is one of the coolest things about the internet. It's totally permissionless. There's two limitations to how successful you're going to be with online stuff. One limitation is technical skills and ability, knowing what to do for every facet of the business and knowing what those decisions are that you make, how you set things up, what your offers are, how you attract people, what platforms you use, how often you post, all this kind of stuff. Do you run ads? What's in the ads? Where's the market research? All those things, right? That will determine the trajectory of the future that you put yourself in. Even a year from now, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years out, this will change your life if you do it right, the technicals, right? The other side is the personal stuff, the spirit, your own subconscious, because you can have all the technical skills in the world. Okay, go into the program here. We've got the tech stack. I'll teach you that, there's different options you can use, whatever fits you. Here's a few. These are the best ones I found. Very simple, easy to use, low cost for tech. I try to keep the tech lean. Here's the guidelines on how to make posts. Here's the market research. I teach you all that stuff, right? But if there's still a person in there who's afraid to grow, you won't fucking do any of it, or you'll self-sabotage it. And that's just the reality of it, right? We have two things. We got the technicals, and then we've got the actual human that's there, And it's the same thing with our work, with our people we help. Somebody comes in with a medical problem, a disease, a diagnosis, a bunch of symptoms, whatever. We've got all these technical answers. Here, take these herbs, do this exercise, eat these foods, avoid that, Here's the timing, try not to pig out before bed, right? All this kind of stuff. But if that person inside is secretly afraid of the life that they're asking for, they'll self-sabotage. They'll procrastinate. They won't listen to you, They won't get the results they deserve. And it's the same thing here for us. So part of my job, as I've seen it, is to help inspire you to be a little more permissionless with the ability to share what it is you know. And yes, don't break any laws or anything like that, but you absolutely don't need a coaching organization to certify you as a coach, because this is the whole point, is that you're getting out from under anything and being able to just be yourself and show up. Going from consumer to creator, right? Making some of that transition so that you're making more things. You're more upward and outward, less dependent on authorities. Jeremy, this is terrifying. I love authorities. Great. But we're going to take them in measured doses. So if you want to get certified as a coach, you can. You absolutely can. I don't think it'll hurt. Not necessary, though. And any coaching program, I know I said this in the group. I was a little bit cheeky kind of saying this, but if you take the basic fundamental skill set you already have and you combine that with the performance psychology and the personal cultivation of this program, like you're going to blow any coaching certification out of the water in terms of material. Like it's all first principles. It's solid. So you don't really need a lot of that generally. That said, industry specific, like if you have a certain niche, like I want to work with triathletes or whatever, and you're some kind of like triathlete injury coaching certification you want to take, where you're going to learn new technical info on how to better serve that population, go for it, right? But I would say take the coaching certification for the material and the knowledge, not necessarily just to put something else shiny on your CV, on your resume, right? Because we're getting to the point, and this is the real heart of this question, we're getting to the point of how do I differentiate myself in a sea of coaches? How do I express my authority without putting my credentials all over? Well, for one, you can say like, oh, it's doctor, whatever. I went to this school and that. I'm working in the capacity of an online coach over here. So you're getting all my doctor specialization skill set, advice, maybe not advice, that might be a dangerous word, right? But all my wisdom packaged up in a place where, you can just take it as an online program. That's one thing to do. But the other, because these degrees, certifications, all that stuff, they're basically appeals to authority. They're abstractions. It's ways for people to feel safe. And the world does operate with this, and it's important to understand this. I'm not saying chuck it all, right? But what I will say is there's a hierarchy of trust, okay? And some people trust credentials and degrees and titles and all that, which is great, and that's fine. But you know what people trust even more? Raw human connection. If you can say something that interfaces with the exact problem they have and matches their worldview and helps them see something they couldn't see before, and you've got social proof, you've got a track record, you can build trust in real ways, tangible ways, based on connection, where you don't have to like, oh, I need to establish myself as an authority so that they trust you. Every time you speak, they feel it, right? Titles, degrees, putting your CV up on your About Me page, like everybody does it. It's relatively weak compared to just having people feel it, right? I want them to know, I want to tell them that I'm an expert. Don't, show them, okay? Learn to show them that you're an expert, and they will feel it, and they won't care what your degree is or your title, because they know that you're obsessed with their problem and you love showing up every single day to help them, and you're gonna absorb that complexity, right? And you're gonna do it in a way where they feel supported and connected, and they can, even better if they can have a community around your work, and it becomes a lifestyle, not just like some doctor, right? It's not a certificate on your wall. It's something they feel whenever they see your face or they read your name somewhere. And the real estate that you occupy in somebody's head is a warm and cozy place, because they know that you care about them and what's going on with them. And that's something that there's no certificate, license, certification, nothing like that can ever replace the reality of that. It's relationships, right? So I went a little bit above and beyond that question. Short answer is no, you don't need a coaching certification. Yes, you can if you want to. Don't worry about it. But the real answer is go through the program here and learn market research, learn attraction, learn conversion, learn how to build offers that are strong. Get the results for people, upgrade your clinical thinking, and just watch everything around you change. It's a ripple effect, and it comes from your spine, becomes the center, the central pole of an ecosystem or a paracosm with just ripples, 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 just like this water. And people feel it, and the right people will feel it, and they'll be drawn in because they want to know what's in the middle there. You don't need permission or certifications, but you do need the skills. All right, get to work.